Hi, lovely to have you here. Welcome to the Electro Revolution channel. My name is Michael and I'm a car and tech enthusiast. In this series of episodes, we're going through a return trip from Phillip Island to Sydney. Two different states, a trip over 950 kilometers one way. So we've already done the first 3 episodes of the trip from Sydney to Phillip Island in Victoria, and now this is the return trip. If you haven't seen those videos yet, I welcome you to go watch those videos. For now, this is a continuation of episode 4, which is the first stop from Phillip Island across to Sydney. This episode is the second stop. Now, in this particular episode, I gotta admit, we did face challenges and I didn't expect these challenges. So it's ideal that we go through this process. I have explained each of the steps, but I'll just be general here. We first went to the BP Pulse. We found it very busy. We then went to the next Evie charger. We found it faulty and we had to use an emergency charger in the same location because we essentially ran out of battery. So it's an interesting episode and it's a real world experience. So it doesn't matter how much people would say, EVs can do this or EVs can do that. Sometimes there are challenges and we learn from all of these challenges. So I hope you enjoy this episode. I think this is where our adventure started. As you noted, as I just explained, on the EV charger that we had at 50 kilowatts, it just wasn't fast enough for us. And I didn't want to hang around too long. I didn't want to take such a long trip home. So I decided, let's go to the BP Pulse in Wangaratta. That was the original destination anyway. The point is, when I went to the BP Pulse, so this is the one here, it's got multiple 150 kilowatt chargers. I didn't realize it's school holidays and the weekends. So when I actually got there, if you look at this place, it's a beautiful place, right? It's got the chargers there. It's got, there you go. It's got the food restaurants, the McDonald's, the toilets, all of that sort of stuff. So this is a central hub for many of the people that have families and they're traveling with kids. And that was the problem. When I actually got there, there wasn't just charging stations that were full, there were actually people waiting. So even though one of the good experiences at this charging stop was, unlike petrol cars, or gas cars as you call them in America, as you charge in a charging EV station, you get an opportunity to talk to other EV people because you've got time. And an interesting one here is I met a guy with a Tesla Model X, and it was the first time I've seen a Tesla Model X, and he was telling me all about it. As you know, they're expensive cars. And anyway, we had a chat there for about 10 minutes, but then I decided, look, I can't wait at least 1.5 hours for a charger. And then on top of that, I'll need about 40 minutes to charge. And of course, you've got people that are in queue. Anyway, it was a hassle that I didn't want to have to deal with. Now, that's when I decided, okay, let's forget about this BP Pulse, even though it's got the faster charger, and let's move and continue on our trip and our journey to the next charging station, and hopefully we'll get a faster charger. And this is where these next videos talk about. So after traveling even further after the BP Pulse, I set the trip computer or the trip planner to go to the next EV fast charging stop. And this is where we ended up. The EV charging station in Wodonga. Now Wodonga is one of those larger towns between the New South Wales and Victoria. So it's something I would expect much more advanced systems, like there's bigger shopping centers and all that stuff into these larger towns. So when I went there, I expected quite a good environment, quite a good charging service. Now I got there. Now if you look at this station, I'll show you the station. It's actually quite nice, as you can see here from the photos. There were 2 spots there, of course. So it is a nice charging station. I'll show you also right now what we're at in terms of the percentage of the battery that we've got left in the vehicle and the distance we've traveled. And there it is. Now, the interesting thing is when I got there and I started to charge, this is what happened. So this is on the first attempt. I plugged it in and this is what's happening. So as you can see, I'm on the 26%. Now I'll pause it there because this was the first attempt. It looks like it tries to charge. I then waited and waited and waited and it says failure. I unplugged it. I tried again a second time. And that's where you see this upload or the screen capture I've got on my phone for this particular charging session. It didn't work again. So what I did again was unplug it. I placed the Bowser back into the unit, turned on and off the car, all that sort of stuff, plugged it back in, restarted the charging session, and I had this exact same problem. So I did it 3 times, and that's where you see this third screenshot. Then I decided, okay, something's wrong with this charger, and obviously I can't use the chatter mode. So what I said is I'll give them a call. So I gave Evie a call and they said, 3 days ago, it's interesting. 3 days ago, this was reported to be a faulty charger. It doesn't output current. Now, before I approached this charger, when I put it into the trip planner, I did check it in the Evie app and it said the charger was free and okay. It didn't say there was a problem with the charger at all. And I only discovered this when I got there. Now, imagine this. You're there at 26% with hardly any Ks left, and the next charging stop is a very, very long way away. So, and I didn't want to charge on slower charges, so I set the trip computer to be the 50 kilowatts and above. I didn't want 22 kilowatt or 7 kilowatt or anything like that. I removed them from the trip planner altogether in the settings. So this essentially was my last charging stop without too many other options. So when I gave them a call and I explained what they said to me, I said, well, what am I supposed to do when I need this charger and I need a charge? And the lady was kind enough to say there is a other charger not too far away, within a kilometer, that you can charge at. And now, unfortunately, this was a 22 kilowatt charger, and this is what the next videos show. And this, unfortunately, was my experience at this time. So right after the faulty Evie station, this is the one that the Evie support call center gave me. I mean, she was a very helpful woman. This one is called an Everty charging station. Now, I've never actually heard of Everty before, but when I looked them up on Google, there are quite a number of them all over the place. Now, this is the station we went to. It is a 22 kilowatt station and it looks exactly like this. This is where I actually parked. And of course, we've got the CHAdeMO on the left and the CCS2 on the right. Now, this is a very, very basic charging station. What I had to do while I was there was download the Everty mobile app, put in my credit card details into the app, scan the QR code that was on the unit, or just put in the ID into the app, and then it kicked off the charging. Now at 22 kilowatt charging, it was quite slow, and I certainly didn't want to come to this charging station. I would have much preferred the Evie station. Even at 50 kilowatt, that's fine. It's double this performance. Now, while I was charging here, my main interest was to go to a faster charger. So I just needed enough charge from this particular charging station to go to the next faster charging system, because if I'm here, I would likely spend hours and hours just getting the percentage I want into the vehicle. I'd rather do that at a fast charger in 20 minutes and 30 minutes and 40 minutes, things like that. So these next videos go through the process of charging at the Everty station. Now, even though it was a little bit frustrating, I think for the purposes of this video and for the purposes of the real world experiences I faced during my return trip home, this is quite important, that Even though there was a faulty charging station, this was a backup, and essentially you could consider it an emergency. I actually needed to charge because there were no other charging stations around. To explain a little bit more about this particular charging station in Wodonga, it is an industrial area. Now, if I just show you here, it's not actually a proper rest stop like what we're accustomed to, like, you know, facilities with bathrooms and general public usage. It's not. It's actually an industrial area. It's in most probably whatever this company is called. It's in their parking lot. So this is, I guess, more suited to if you're going to work and you want to charge at work. This is the sort of charger you would go to, I believe, because it's not something that, even though it has public access and it's for public usage, there's not much the public can do here except charge. And you certainly don't want to be charging for hours on end at a slow public charger like this one. And here is where we actually show you the screen where we actually perform the charging. And as you can see, it's at 22 kilowatt. And look at the time it takes to go to 100%. Now, that's certainly not going to be a situation that's easy for me to just sit there and wait that long. It just doesn't work. I need a fast charger. But as I said earlier, this is the sort of charger you would get in an emergency when there's no other chargers around. And because of the Ks I had left in the car, this was the only option. All the other faster chargers around me were over the Ks that I had left in the car. About 200 Ks and 180 Ks and 220 Ks. They just weren't around. So this was my only option.
Okay, we had to stop here because the EV charger was broken in Wodonga. So this gave us just some charge so we could get to the next charging stop. So we're at 43% now. This is an Everty charger, first time I've used it. I just had to download the Everty app and then just enter my credit card, and it's quite simple to use. Just it's not an extremely fast charger. So I'll just be stopping it now and moving to my next charging station.
So as you saw from this episode, there were challenges that we went through. There were issues that we had to resolve. Unfortunately, it did highlight a certain aspect of charging in Australia. And not only that, you know, we did leave on a Sunday, and the Sunday included school holidays in Australia for most of the states in Australia. So a lot of families were out, they were busy, they were using the charging stations, especially at the central hub ones where there were very good food facilities and rest stops and things like that. So when you see a McDonald's or a KFC or something like that, you'll always find them busy there. And unfortunately, that's where they got those super fast chargers. So you do have to plan ahead when you're doing this. You do have to be aware of what's going on around you. It's not like a gas car. You can just show up anywhere, fill for 5 minutes and leave. It doesn't work that way with EVs. Well, not today anyway. So with good planning, you can prepare a lot better than I did. But as I said, this is a real world experience, and this is important to go through this experience to note the challenges so we all learn from them. So I hope you enjoyed this episode. If you did, please give us a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, share this video with someone who would be interested in it, or just leave a comment. It really all helps. So until the final episode, which is next, I hope to see you there. Until then, bye for now.